Today's group is great as always. Got some new faces in the crowd. We got some women that haven't been on panels with each other before. So I think it's going to lead to a really great. I keep saying great. Great's my word today. Monday's great. I'll try to come up with another adjective. A really insightful and resourceful conversation today on this Open Topic Live. And so I've got Rachel Lavin, Rashonda Blackman, Laura Chalosi, and Blanca Madrigal here with us today. All of their resources will be in our show notes following this conversation. You also can find most of these ladies on our resources page. Rashonda is new to our platform, so more from her to come on the podcast coming up, and Blanca later this summer. And Laura and Rachel are veterans here. So we've got a good mix of folks today. For me today, I think I'll lead off here with, I am truly feeling in a nuanced place today. I'm in the process and just unveiled, and a couple of you on here have helped me with this, an online course that will be fully unveiled to the world in July. So more on that to come, listeners. But I unveiled it to a seminar that I'm part of, that Rachel's part of, that Laura's part. Gosh, there's three of us here that are part of this Power of Just One seminar with Lulu Agan this month. It kicked off last week. It goes through next week. And Lulu suggested when we met, a couple months ago, rather than using our book, that I use this as an opportunity to kind of debut the online course and get it out to this group first. So a lot of work by my team, by my beta group, which Laura was a part of, to get this out into the world and get it ready in these early stages. And a lot of I was able to really, our friend Erin Copeland couldn't be here with us today, but she asked me last week, how are you going to celebrate this? This is something that you've been carrying around in your heart and your mind for a while, and you've done it. And so I was mindful about that, and I did celebrate it. I got to go to the ocean this weekend. I got to go watch my Dodgers at Dodger Stadium against the Yankees. That was a big thing for me. So yeah, I was able to do that, and in the midst of all that, I've got some very heavy things going on in my personal life right now that I'm healing from and dealing with and navigating, that have a lot of emotions and steps involved in that process. So I come in this very reflective place today, I think. And one of the things I've been reflecting on is when I started this network with the Field podcast 4 years ago, next month officially, but started working on it again at 4 years ago this spring. My hope was to start conversations with women about how we can prioritize our wellness without feeling selfish and quit putting ourselves on the back burner, and bring other women along with us to do that. And my goal wasn't so much to have the number one podcast in the world, although that would be great because it means lots of women are getting access to the information. It was really just to start conversations, and I knew this was a place I could start. And I didn't have much of a plan moving forward from that, other than I wanted to do this. As I got into it more, I realized that there are several mediums out there, and not every woman wants to listen to a podcast. So then I started thinking, what are some other mediums where I can get this framework into women's hands? And so I started dabbling in some other things. We put out a book last fall. I mentioned this online course. I'm starting to do public speaking. We do these panel conversations, and we have the podcast. And I've gotten feedback from different people in my group and network at different times of you're doing too much at one time. People don't know what your listeners don't know what you want from them, or you've confused them. And that's probably true. I'm not saying the way I rolled this out was ideal, but I also realized in this epiphany moment of reflecting on this latest iteration is you know what? I feel like the platform is complete. I feel like I've hit the mediums. I've got a written word. I've got an online course. I can come to you in person. We've got a podcast and a website full of resources from those guests. And I've got a panel show where I bring women together to have these conversations. So there really is something for every woman to find that medium they connect with, to connect with our message. And I'm like, I didn't know it at the time, but that's really been my intent all along. So kind of arriving to what my expectations are for this as I'm in the process was a really like, oh, I didn't really probably go about, maybe I should have taken a little more time to establish one thing or another before moving on to the next. But I realized the reason I followed each of those nudges was because I was trying to find as many ways as possible to get this framework into as many women's eyes, ears, mouths, hearts as possible. And so that was really like, I think, helpful to feel like, okay, now that I've gotten all of these things in place or getting them in place, I feel like now I have a better understanding of how we can market ourselves and who I need to work with and how I can now fine tune these other areas and get them, into places and spaces they need to be, the SEO piece and all those other things. But it was really kind of a aha moment of like, oh, this is really what I've been trying to do all along. And I've done that now. So that's me today. And that's where I am in this kind of reflective moment.
If I may,
Uh-huh.
Something that resonates with what you said, I guess to summarize, is that thing about taking the risk. And what I love about it is like you didn't wait until it was like a perfect idea and then you had all the platforms all set up, because then it would never happen.
Yeah.
And how many times, and I being in this reflective state too, is like just taking the risk, just taking the next step as opposed to waiting for it to be set, perfect.
Yeah.
Or finalized. And then now that you see everything you've done, you're like, oh, that's right. Like it all falls into into place.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that's a really great way to summarize that. That's really good, Blanca. Thank you. All right.
Melissa, I just
Go ahead, Laura.
I want to share with that too. You were following your heart, right? I mean, like you were just kind of being led. So I don't think there's a specific way that we have to do things. To be completely honest, I think if we're following our heart, we're gonna be led to where we're supposed to be led. And so, just in reflecting on what you did, what you shared, you did exactly what you were supposed to be. And like I always I try to get rid of the word should, because there's like get rid of that word should. Like you did what you had to. You did what you felt called to. And to be an example to other women to do that is beautiful, because you didn't know where you were going. You were just following your nudges. And if we all just would follow our inner, right, our nudges. So I think that's beautiful what you did. I just wanted to share that.
No, thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. No, I do. I appreciate that. Rashonda, why don't you talk to us about where you are today in the world? How are you feeling?
Well,
welcome.
Thank you. I kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you said too. There are people that wait, and then there are people that move. And then so the people that wait, they're as I think Blanca said it, they waiting on the perfect time, the perfect, well, let me get this. And I had a friend like that. And I'm like you, when I get a nudge or something that's really like, you need to do this, I do it. Everything that I've put my hand on, or God has blessed me to put my hand on to do, I have always done it flying while trying to fix the plane, going across the ocean while putting bags so the ship won't float over, but just figuring it out as I go. Because if I don't, as Laura said, if we don't, when? When are you going to do it? When is it going to happen? And, this might sound a bit of a Debbie Downer, but then you'll find yourself, in another place. There are do you know how the grave is very full, of people who waited instead of moving, waited instead of going with the inkling, because I don't have the money, I don't have the resources. Well, I don't have what they got. I don't have the phone. I don't have who cares? None of us, starting out, none of us had it. But the goal is, and the sweet spot is doing it, because what I found out is that the obedience, the rewards come a lot of times when we actually move. So the money, the friends, the business partners, the connections, the networking, none of that is not going to come if you just wait. So so I just wanted to say that I'm very proud of you for moving. Don't feel bad because you did that, girl. Okay. You're doing your thing, all right? But there's somebody out there that's still waiting on the perfect time. There's no such thing as the perfect time.
Yeah.
So
is that how your podcast got birthed? Was it just a nudge, or was it how? I'm curious.
So at first it was blogging. I blogged for 5 years. I started in 2015, and it just kept coming to me. You know, people often say, well, how do I know what my purpose is? Well, how do I know, it's that thing that you love doing that you can do without even thinking about it, but it's something just keeps happening, like on the inside of you. You'll feel it, and it's a feeling that only you will know what it is. And so that's what it was for me with blogging. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? These people don't want to hear from me. But it came from the factor of, because people did like talking to me. They did feel like they could come and say what they wanted, and I wouldn't judge, and I wouldn't, I would come up with solutions, or they just needed a listening ear. And so I was like, well, if those people need that, there must be other people that need it too. And so that's how the blogging started. After the blogging, it was YouTube, and that just started off on a whim. Then came Matters of the Heart. I was trying to look in one way of doing something. Then there was a podcast. I had never podcast before. That was 21. And then, just this past fall, it's the girlfriend's girlfriend, because I've always been the girlfriend that people could come to and talk to. But sometimes that girlfriend needs a girlfriend. Like I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody to listen to me. And so, so that's what it's all about. But it did come in those moments of just, I need to do this. I mean, the creativity just come. I had no idea what I was doing. No, nothing. But I will say this, it was all led and guided by God. I just felt like each thing, he just put it in me, and I didn't wait. I moved and I just did it. And so, my friend today, true story, it's been 5 years and she's still trying to start a podcast. She's going to the classes. She's trying to find the equipment. She's trying. Do you know how many people like you could be helping and you still wait? It's 5 years. And so, and she was like, Rashonda, I just don't see, you just get out there and just do it. Yeah. Because when it comes to you, it's got to come to you, because I'm a firm believer. If you don't do it, that idea is going to be given to somebody else. And then you're going to be looking at them. I had that idea like 2 years ago. Yeah, but you didn't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I know that was a lot, but I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said, Melissa. So
I love that. Thank you. Well, how are you today? Do you have a senior? Am I correct in remembering that?
Yes, he is. He graduates Saturday. And that is like blowing my mind. It's funny how life changes. When kids are like 2 and 3, I'm like, please hurry up and grow up. Please hurry up and grow up. Get 16, get 18, and then when they get that, it's like, please go back to being a baby. Please go back to being a newborn. It's like, oh my gosh. But it was bittersweet. I think I'm just dealing with a lot of emotions right now with that. I don't know about you all, but it's just something about, he's my only son. I only have 2, and he's the last one. It's just something about that last one. And I found myself going to the school and picking him up last Friday. And as I was waiting on him to come out, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I will not be taking this road anymore. Like, he's actually going on a different road. I won't take this route. He's going on his own thing and doing his own thing. And I just felt the tears coming. And, I cried with him the other day when he was going to work, and he was like, okay, Mom, it's 5 o'clock. I gotta go. but I'm like, it's just a wave of emotions that's just coming. And then, if it's not that, I don't know about you ladies, but I have been in menopause since 34 years old. And I just feel like the last 4 years, my body has been acting a fool with me. So I really don't understand what's happening right now.
You
what,
are in good company, my friend.
what the heck is going on? So it's just, I feel like I'm on this roller coaster ride of emotions. But as you said earlier, I personally don't have anybody to talk to about those things. But I talk to God. He's my best friend. Now I feel like he closes the door on me a lot, like who's coming? Oh God, I'm not here. But so so it's just trying to figure out, like, okay, Rashonda, you know what you need to do, and whatever. Still being that, dealing with my own issues, but at the same time trying to help somebody else. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah. It's a balancing act. And you know what? I have graduated 3 from high school and now college. And you just got to give yourself space and room for all the emotions, because it is bittersweet. And it's good for Blanca to hear, who's got little ones right now, that there's an other side to it. And then someday you're going to be sad.
Right.
And Laura's a
I'm
grown
sad
too. So, I
today.
mean, yeah. I mean, but yeah, give yourself lots of space, lots of room, all the tears. And it is those little things. It's that when you were talking about that, I'll never go this route. I totally had a similar experience. Like, we'll never drive down this street and sit here at 8:30 in the morning ever again. I mean, it's not the big things. It's those little traditions or rituals or passages that you take that are going to shift. And it really is. So you just give yourself lots of space, lots of room, lots of love, and cry as much as you need to, and everybody will be okay. Everybody, but yeah, giving yourself lots of room. And Rachel had we talked about this on a panel a couple of weeks ago, where Rachel, tell Rashonda what you said about menopause and your attitude with it.
I've decided to become best friends with it, because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing that I can't stop it until it's done. So instead of getting frustrated and angry and being embarrassed for hot flashes, I'm just like, here it is. This is what's happening. And is it easy every day? Of course not. I mean, I have never been pregnant, so I don't have kids, but my boobs, I can only imagine this is what pregnancy boobs look like. And they're like in my way every day. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm doing my best. I'm literally doing my best.
Oh my gosh. So relatable. Oh my
It
gosh.
sure is, honey. Boobs and muffin top, all in my way.
I know.
I can't see no valleys.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I've incorporated putting planks back in my workout routine, and that is helping with that. Like, the stronger my core is, I do feel better, but the boobs aren't going anywhere. So yeah.
Nope. Oh my gosh. All right, Laura, my friend, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good today. I feel really good. I was reflecting, you're like reflecting, like, where you were in a reflective state. And I'm like, I feel great, to be honest. It's a new month. Something that has helped me. I review my month, like, in terms of, like, my goals and things. And so I know, and I've never did this before in terms of, like, looking at my business or anything. And so now I've started to reflect, and I'm like, I was like, I did really good with hitting most of my goals, not all of them, but, like, I set my intention, and I did really good. So I feel really excited about that. And I'm excited moving forward for June, because I'm going to set my goals too. And what really helps me is really, because I was reflecting about this too, we're all business owners, right? We're wives, partners, and we're also business owners. And so, what helps me in juggling them all is really, I'm very project oriented. So if I can focus on, like, one project and not all the other things that are going on, that really helps. So I just wanted to share, like, project for me, it's like boom, like this, like our Power of One, Power of Just One,
Mhm.
which was great. It was, deadline oriented, and that's, like I was the one, I was the person who was pulling all nighters, before college, and that was me. Give me a deadline. I'm really good with the deadline.
You and my husband would have been best friends.
Like that's just what I did, and it worked. So I'm good with the deadline, and that propels me to focus on the task and complete it.
Yeah.
And so this
Yeah.
Power of Just One, which it was a great summit. I put together a new freebie, and I had to do, my welcome emails and all that stuff, which I love. But it was like, all right, like you need to do this, and like just focused. And so, for me, I just share that being focused on one task, one project,
Yeah.
is really how I move the needle and how things get done. And, just how you were reflecting, Melissa, of everything that you've accomplished over the 4 years. It's really how, when I reflect, I do have created so many assets, but unless I'm reflecting and saying, wow, and you also talked about how am I going to celebrate? And I said to myself, I honestly, I don't celebrate. I really don't celebrate ever. I think I celebrated like once because I just keep going and going. And
Yep.
so for me, I know that I need to like celebrate myself a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's important too, because
Yeah.
I know we don't, right? And so
Yeah.
you celebrating yourself was again like a kick to my butt. Like you need to celebrate, even if it's once a month that whatever goals. So that's where I am. That's where I need to improve upon my celebrations. But being focused,
Yeah.
I think for anyone for me anyway, it helps me
Yeah.
to move forward and complete tasks.
Yeah.
So.
I love that you hit on that because we are we like wear multitasking like a badge of honor. And there's times you need to be able to do that. But there's also times where we overdo that. And that's how we wear ourselves out. It's like, I'm wearing this like a badge of honor and it's actually draining the heck out of me. And I'm really not showing up for anything well. I'm getting everybody and everything is getting a portion of me, but they're not getting a fulfilled, edified version of me because I'm wearing this crown of multitasking. So instead of doing that, and I have to do this every so often. I have to check in with myself, look at my calendar, the things that I talk about this a lot with the framework. If you start feeling a little uncomfortable or overwhelmed or angsty about things, it's probably an indication that your calendar is a little too full or it's got some things in it that aren't aligned with where you are right now. It's like thinking about those yeses. And I'm like, I say this all the time. It's a quote from a guest, Valerie Rivera. Remember, whatever you're saying yes to, that means you're saying no to something else. Make sure you're okay with whatever that no is. So thank you for bringing to light the importance of and need sometimes for us to just dial in on that thing and take off this, superwoman, let's be the multitasking champions of the world. There's no prize for that. There's no prize for that. There's nobody waiting there with a gold medal or a trip to, Portugal, or the Spanish Riviera, for winning that prize. There's so why are we doing that? And so I love that you shined a light on that. I think that's so important for us to remember. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, Rachel, my friend, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy for you. And thank you so much for creating this for all of us. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think something that, Rachel, I always tell people this, Rachel is that friend that everybody needs that's willing to go on all the wild rides with you. So, whatever, if I have something new and she's like, yeah, I mean, this is the greatest example of that girlfriend who will go anywhere with you. So I am doing Substack Lives right now with past guests that are authors that can now come on and share their books. And I'm going back to the very beginning of the podcast and trying to do an order, offer all of them opportunities. And they may not want to take it, but they certainly can. And then after we do these features over the summer, we're going to do book clubs with each of those books via our Substack that we have. So Rachel signs up and she agrees to it. And you've got to have a Substack account and follow each other on Substack and download the app on your phone in order to participate in the live. So we get into this and Rachel's like, I have no idea how to do the Substack thing. I don't know how to sign up, but I'll do it. And it was like, so we got Jess on there. Jessica's my person on my team who really runs our Substack, knows how to set up. I'm like, Jess, connect with Rachel, help her out. But she didn't let it stop her that this was an unfamiliar space. She was willing to come along, be that supportive friend, take that leap, utilize this opportunity to share on another platform the power of her book. And that to me is showing up for yourself and other women unapologetically in a nutshell. So I wanted to celebrate that because Rachel is that person who is just always willing and doesn't let those fears of like, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to do Substack. Oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to, that. So it makes me think a little bit about, how many opportunities do we miss out on because we're not ready enough. We don't have that thing instead of just staying curious and not letting the fear derail us. So it really feeds a lot into what we've talked about already today. I think of Rashonda, of your friend. I mean, I think for her, that person, like, what is this thing in your layers journey? What layer is it that is disrupting you from taking this step forward and getting curious about that and unraveling that and healing that? And I think so many times those are the things, if we're feeling like a resistance to something that keeps coming up, like it's not going away, but we keep being unwilling to take that step. It's like, what's holding you back? There's something there that needs to be unpacked so that you can really step into this thing that you're clearly feeling called to. So Rachel's always willing to go on the journey. And that's one of my favorite things about her.
Well, thank you. But I have to say, this is a conscious effort that I've really put into practice this year, with stop being afraid or work through my fears, because I just think they are crippling and they don't allow us to live a full life. And I understand that fear is real. Don't for one second think I'm not being empathetic about that. But for me, I realized that it was just getting in my way. And I really, I think I've shared this with you, Melissa, before. It's like when I was starting and trying to get Body Love by Rachel off the ground, and I was just hitting wall after wall after wall. I was like, maybe it's just not my time. Maybe I just don't have the skills. Maybe women don't want to believe that they never have to diet again. I don't know what it is, but I need to take a step back. I think that's different than not doing it at all, because now now that I stopped chasing it and stopped thinking that I have to do this, like opportunities, boom, boom, boom. So I realized that staying open to something, but maybe it not being your time right then and there, doesn't mean that it never will be. So I think that is such a beautiful lesson that I'm learning right now. So yeah.
That was really good. Because sometimes there's a door that we're trying to force open that's not ready to be open yet. Yeah. And being aware of the difference. I think that's a really, and you'll know, I mean, I think I've had an example of that in 2024. I kicked down a door that kept trying to close on me. And I just was unwilling in my effort to, get on all these different platforms and whatnot. This one clearly had red flags and I didn't respond. The beauty of it is I discovered the possibility of panels through it, but it was still a road that I should have at least waited on, if not, and I didn't. And I knew it like just 3 months, not even 3 months in. I knew, but I was like, okay, I've made that commitment. I got to honor this. And okay, so I've done this. I've violated this boundary with myself. So how am I going to live within it and get the most out of it while I'm in it? And instead of just being like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this to myself, I had to reframe. I made this choice. So how do I honor this choice the best way I can? And also know when it comes time to renew, the answer will be no. And I will. So I think there's so many lessons that we can take from those choices that we make. Yeah, good stuff. Blanca, how are you, my friend? You are just a few weeks from the kids getting out of school.
You mean
summer
one?
break?
Right. Yes. So I feel a little behind on thinking about the summer because it's a week away.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
So with that comes like, well, what's gonna happen with my work? How am I gonna work around it? But anyways, in terms of kids, I did see something earlier that made me think about them, and it was a quote somewhere. I can't cite it, but it said something about don't get stuck focused too much about giving your kids a good life that you forget to give a good day.
Oh, that's good.
I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so we get stuck on that, right? On the perfection, and we're so stressed the day we let it take us. Anyways, so I do try to keep that in mind through life, and it's funny because they are young. I'm like the same age as all you, and my little one is from kindergarten this week. So, but yeah, a lot of stuff in my mind, and this conversation is really bringing up our memories and current feelings as well.
Yeah.
In terms of taking the risk, I always remember a friend I had when I was living in Seoul. So in addition to, I was focusing mostly on the languages and the photography. That's what I've been doing for many years. And then, my recent things, the doula and whatnot. But I also sew. That's my skill on the side. And it's been a hobby, and it's also sometimes been business, whatever. In Korea, baby carrying is very popular. Right. So somehow I got requested to sew baby carriers. And from that, I had a friend who wanted to learn to sew, and she had this idea for a business. And, we had the first lesson, and in addition to the sewing, I coached her a little bit on her business ideas. The second sewing class, she came ready with her logo. She had an Instagram account. She was going to do this whole baby wearing thing. Did she know how to sew yet fully? No. But she was launching herself. And, well, the story doesn't end super great for her. She died soon after. And this is also a reminder to, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
But anyway, she had little kids, and she was motivated. She was young. Turns out she had a cancer that they caught very, very late. It always brings me good feelings about her motivation, but also, the sad feels.
Yeah.
But she was determined. She was driven. She taking that risk. She's like, I'm not gonna wait until I'm 100%. So whenever I need a motivation, sometimes, thoughts of her pop into my head.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So that's, and the menopause, I don't know. My doctor says I don't have it, but my body think otherwise.
It's telling you otherwise.
Yeah.
Perimenopause can go on for 10 to 15 years before menopause hits.
When you start crying because your sister didn't like your cake, and it's so silly, like, and like you can't hold it back, and you like, you're like, something's wrong.
That's what that is, Blanca. That's menopause for sure.
That is.
And then like, you're like, oh, that feels silly, but yeah, like, oh, something's wrong here. Okay, it's just.
Oh my gosh. It's a real thing. It is. And you're navigating this while being a mom to littles. And that's a whole different, that's a whole different way and space where you really have to make space for yourself to refill and process all of these things that are not only happening in your family's life, but be your own body and life. But I love so much about that quote that you shared earlier. And it's just such a reminder, be present each day in the moments. They're going to remember those moments
And if
so
you
much.
think about it, it goes for the kids or the non-kids, right? Rachel,
Yeah.
like you're sometimes worried about like 3 years ahead that we're not focused on today. Laura, take a break, celebrate.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
a break, celebrate.
Mhm.
Right? Like it
Yeah.
can be applied in different things.
Yeah.
But yes, the little ones,
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
remember the little moments and the little things that we do for them.
Yeah. And our families, period. I mean, anyone we're in relationship in our life, when you get together with your girlfriends and you share those things that crack you up, that make you cry, that make you feel like you're going to pee your pants, all those things that come up, it's those little nuanced moments. It's usually, now it may have happened within a bigger moment, but it's that little moment, that, situation at your kids' rehearsal dinner where somebody, knocked over all the balloons and it knocked the table over and you just had to decide to laugh instead of cry. I mean, I'm using, but it's those little moments that you're present with each other in. Or remember when so-and-so did this? Or, yeah, I mean, so just that, whatever space or place you're in, being really present. And I can connect with that so much. I could get so focused on what was down the road. And I think I've shared this on the panels before, and it really goes back into what Laura was saying. And our friend Kim, who's not here with us today, calls them wells and betters, which I really like, because rather than saying, oh, I don't like this versus I want this to be better, what's going well? What could go better? It's also falls within the wins. Like, what were your wins today? In those days that feel lost and chaotic and washed up, what I have learned is I can feel all my feelings and give them room to process. And that opens up the opportunity, when I leave room for the nuance, to also see the wins. I don't get stuck in one primary emotion and let that rule the day, because I'm open to all the possibilities. And that's something I've had to learn. Like, that's not a place I've always been able to abide in, but then it allows you to identify that thing. And I've gotten to a point now where I'll be in a day and something will happen. I'm like, ooh, that was a win. I need to remember. And it's usually not the big glorious things. It's that little, I did 10 real push-ups today for the first time since I was 22. I mean, it's like, instead of being on my knees, that was a big thing. That's a win. I was able to have a hard conversation with a family member and listen without getting defensive. That was a win. That's an example of the healing I've done, and in a way I couldn't have shown up 7 to 10 years ago. I mean, so I think it's just really being present, recognizing the wins. And when you name the wins, you're more like, and then you've got accountability friends around you, like Aaron being like, so what are you going to do to celebrate? I was like, I would have skipped right over that. I would have not stopped to pause to think about that. And so, yeah, I think it's just all of those things, but just being present, giving ourselves a ton of grace, allowing ourselves space and place, and also just being able to laugh and come together and realize we're all in this together. Like, we're all in this together. And if we can, talk about these things openly, like, I mean, I think our grandmothers would probably roll over in their graves at the fact that we're talking about hot flashes and boobs and all these things on a panel. But man, it's freeing to know you're not the only one in it, because someone mentions it and someone else is like, oh my gosh, me too. I mean, and it's like, I am not alone in this chaos. We are all, navigating this together. So yeah, I think lots of good stuff there. Does anybody, I'm going to give each of you a chance to share a takeaway that you have for today that you'd like to share, or give you a chance to, if you've heard anything that you haven't had to gotten a chance to comment on, now's the time to do that as well. So Rashonda, we'll start with you.
There was a couple of things. So when we was talking about taking risk, the first thing I thought about was one of my favorite movies by Jim Carrey is Yes Man.
Mm.
And it's where he says he was always saying no to things, and because he was afraid, but then he started saying yes to everything, and it opened up some really, really great opportunities for him. And I think in life, that's what we have to do. Just start saying yes, to some things. I know one of my yeses, and I think this was maybe like in 23, was I'm gonna get out the house. I'm gonna go more places than I getting out than I stay in.
Mhm.
And I took several trips to Raleigh. I took so many trips. I was like, girl, do you need to move here? But it was just the factor of that I did it. And I not only did it with people, I did it alone. And so it's just I said yes to that, and it made me feel good. So it is the little things. And Melissa, I was going to ask you to say what your therapist said to you when we talked in April, because my dental hygienist was, if we don't celebrate the small victories, we won't celebrate anything at all. And I think as women, we are, they say we're the weaker vessel. I'm gonna have to fight somebody on that one. I mean, I get why they said it because of, our emotions or whatever, but we got some strong backs, but we carry a lot. We're mothers, we're wives, we're friends, we're this, we're coworkers, we're bosses. You got so much going on until it's kind of like what Laura was saying. We're just so focused on moving, until we don't stop to say, man, that flower over there smells really good. It's like stopping to really smell the flowers and stopping to really just breathe, even. So those were just some things, and and whatever.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And also until a man gives birth, weaker vessel, my eyeball. I mean, come on now. That's what I have to say about that. And
That
also, that part. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Rashonda. Laura, how about you?
Huge takeaway. I'm definitely celebrating the wins for sure. And I have to say my bad. When I work with my clients, I'm like on them. What are your wins? Celebrate your wins. And I need to do that too.
Yeah. I know. Usually we're teaching the things we need the most for ourselves.
I definitely, going to definitely be more proactive with that, because it's important, because it's so easy. We're also focused on the negative. It's just an easier thing to fall into. So, and like Rachel said, the fear, sure, fear is real, but to, may take our actions not from a place of fear, but really from a place of alignment and moving forward. And you can take an action even in fear, right? In spite of fear, to even move forward. So I think for me, those are just kind of reinforcements and important takeaways, to continue for sure. And not to take action and don't take action from a place of fear either. It works that way too, because sometimes we take action because we're scared. And then sometimes it's not the best action for us. So getting into a place, of more of that, a confidence as well.
Yeah.
So those are. So those for me were definitely important takeaways for sure.
Oh, thank you. So good. All right, Rachel, how about you?
I mean, always take away such joy after being on one of these, because I think the message, no matter what we talk about, is time and time again, is that women, we are not alone, and that we can really support each other and be there for each other, even in those quiet moments where you may not feel like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel at that moment. It's just nice to know that probably every woman on this panel has experienced that. And, that's what we're here to do, right? Is share our experiences through knowledge so we can move forward and just get stronger and stronger. And so that's when I hang up with all of you tonight, that's the way I'm going to feel. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Blanca, how about you?
So I think for me, it's a bit contradictory, because on one side, yes, I need to take some time to review and be more intentional about my actions going forward. But at the same time, I want to take risks and just go for it, because if I have all these ideas, but I just need to jump
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
it.
And you're such a great encourager of other women doing that. Like Blanca has a natural ability. If I sit down with her and she looks at what I'm doing, she'll be like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Oh, you should do this. Oh, have you thought about that? I mean, she just has that natural way about her. And so, yeah, so I think it goes back to like applying those things to ourselves, like those things that we're so good at giving away
Yeah.
to others, replying them
Thank
back
you,
to
Melissa.
ourselves.
That was the third thing I wanted to say. It's like I've been noticing that I really do love that part of my job. So I need to also embrace my cheerleading with intention, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you have a great lens though. Like you analyze it, you look at it, but you have really like an ability to see those things. So yeah, absolutely. So good. All right. For me, my takeaway today is the quote that Blanca shared earlier about don't get so wrapped up in providing this great life that you forget about providing a great day, a great morning, a great memory in the moment. I think so. As we head into, in the Northern Hemisphere anyway, head into the summer season, being intentional about that, being present as we go, Rashonda, you're going into this season that you won't get back again. And so really slowing down and being present with it and breathing it all in because I'm sure there's many mamas out there they're entering this season of breathing it all in and being present with it and giving yourself all the space and time to walk that out. And for those in the Southern Hemisphere, getting cozy, winter is a great time to winter and to sometimes step back and assess and take a little bit of a breather. And we get so focused. I was recording a great episode earlier today with my friend Cheryl Schultz, who's in the Fresno County Women's Chamber with Blanca and I, and we were talking about that in our society, we're so focused on going all the time, but sometimes we need to just slow down and be quiet for a moment and listen and reflect and check in with ourselves. And the calendar doesn't have to be full, and giving ourselves that space and not feeling like not being productive means we're not valuable. Our value is inherent in who we were created to be, not by how productive we are. So if you're feeling like things aren't coming to you, maybe that's just a nudge to pause and reflect, and when the time is right, it will come. So all right, ladies, real quick, I'm going to go around the circle and let everybody know where they can follow you. Rashonda, how can people find and follow you?
Again, I am I have 2 podcasts, Matters of the Heart with Rashonda, the Girlfriend's Girlfriend podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, wherever your favorite music and podcast stations reside. Both are there. My most recent is the Girlfriend's Girlfriend, so you can catch that. It's a once a month show. We talk about a little bit of everything. I have a commercial segment called Something Old, Something New, Something Borrowed, Something Blue, from the old wedding adage, where we just bring in current events and just talk about, life and different things outside of the topic of the month. But I'm also on Instagram at Just Some Inspiration 2, the number 2 U. So yeah, I'm on TikTok at Inspo with Ro. So follow me. It's always got something saying over there.
I love it. All right, Laura, how about you?
You could Instagram at Laura Tolosi Nutrition, at Laura Tolosi Nutrition. Simple as that. My website, lauratolosinutrition.com. So that's it. Just easy
speasy. All right.
Easy.
Yeah, easy is good. All right, Rachel, how about you?
I am Rachel Lavin, Lifestyle and Wellness, Facebook, Instagram. I believe Instagram is my Organized by Rachel, but it's all my things. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Perfect. And Blanca?
Yes. So If it's Instagram, it's going to be Blanca_Madrigal. LinkedIn is Blanca Madrigal, and that one you can find all my things. My website for my photography is blancamadrigal.com. So if you know my name, you can find me. And other
Perfect.
things. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so much for being with us today. Those out there listening, again, so appreciative of you taking the time to be with us. Let us know what you think. Leave comments if there's other topics you'd like to hear from us. Next week, we'll be back with our having meaningful conversations around Pride as we're in Pride Month. So we're going to have a panel having that conversation. That'll be next week. And then the following week, we'll be back with an open topic. Thanks so much for being with us today on Together We Feel. Like, comment, share, follow us. Let your girlfriends know we're here. We'd love to have you join us. Thanks so much and have a great week.
Ciao.